Manly Hall official, is glad to produce, publish and offer. Adam and Eve and the Flaming Sword. I do not suppose there is anyone who does not speculate, at least a little, over the story of the cherubim with the flaming sword that guarded the way to the gates of Eden to prevent the return of our primal ancestors to their heavenly home. The same little story is played out every day of our lives if we will but see it. First, Eden represents paradise or heaven, that particular form of earthly joy which is the direct result of man's living in accordance with the plan of his being. In other words, when man is in a harmonious state of consciousness, when his organism is properly balanced, etc., he then lives in a new world of his own creation, or rather to which he has become attuned through his life, and this is in fact the garden of the Lord. Man has been cast out of the garden of balance and peace by his perversions, and the flaming sword of Eden undoubtedly represents the descending spirit fire which drives the spiritual consciousness of man out of his peace and joy. The cherubim with the flaming sword that stood at the gates of Eden had 4 heads. These 4 heads symbolized the 4 bodies of man, while the flaming sword is the fire of passion. It is the emotion body of man, uncurbed and unregenerate, that stands as a flaming sword between him and the higher worlds. If you're enjoying this video and finding value in the content, we kindly ask you to take a moment to subscribe to the channel. A large portion of our listeners and viewers haven't subscribed yet, and by doing so, you'll help us grow and continue bringing you more high-quality audiobooks. Your support means a lot to us, and it's just one click away. So, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to stay connected and never miss out on our latest releases. Nearly all the suffering in the world at the present time is the result of emotion in which individuals have lost control of themselves and have allowed the passion body to dominate their lives. So long as this is permitted, the cherubim with the flaming sword will stand between the spiritual consciousness of man and the realization of his ideals. It is only when this body is mastered that peace can return. When man masters his lower being, the down-pointing sword is turned upward through spiritual regeneration, and man is then able to enter again the garden of the Lord. But so long as we are a slave to our lower natures and to the animal fires, just so long does the flaming sword stand between us and our true spiritual home, and we are forced to wander the earth dressed in the skins of animals until as purified egos we pass through the fire of the flaming sword and the bodies which like the Sphinx of old guard the entrance to the higher worlds. The mystery of initiation. During the last few years, a great wave of mysticism has swept over the world. The heart of mankind is hungry for greater knowledge. The soul, yearning for fuller understanding, has sought to tear away the veil which forever drapes the figure of wisdom. Man has sought to learn those mystic truths so long lost to the world, and in his study and search he has found that there are strange and mysterious beings known to the world as initiates. Among the ancient works and the mystery schools of those peoples now dead, strange ceremonies called initiations were given in some mysterious way, and the popular mind has come to believe that there is a mystic rite, an initiative ceremonial, which makes man one with the immortals, and in the name of this wonderful and mystic concept terrible crimes have been committed against the spiritual and occult teachings. There's probably no word in the English language that has been so abused, so misused, so often used and so little understood, as the word initiation. Every dream, every phantom form, every unusual happening, has been called the initiation, and all over the world temples have sprung up in the name of the mystery schools to initiate candidates into the wisdom teachings, some of them without cost, but in the majority of cases a heavy fee accompanies the initiation, in which for, say, $25 the candidate is dubbed Sir Somebody or made a leading luminary in some mystic shrine. The result of this perversion is that the sacredness, the beauty, and the true realization of the meaning 15F initiation has been lost to the world, for it is very true that there are none who can so damage a religion or an idea as those who claim to be its followers. How long it will take the world to learn that initiations are not ceremonials it is difficult to say. But sometime each individual must realize that swinging robes and incense burners and other trimmings do not constitute initiation, and that no one on the face of the earth could buy it for the fortune of Croesus nor in any way receive it until he himself by his life has become worthy of its mystic blessing. There are few in this world who know what real initiation is, and there are fewer still who, having discovered it, really want to so live that this mystic rite may be unfolded within their souls. The true initiate is a very wondrous and mysterious being, and any words that we can say concerning such a one are very poor, indeed. Those who have not already walked the path can have but a feeble idea of what an initiate really is, for such a one has unfolded within himself or herself, as the case may be, certain principles of which the average layman knows nothing. The powers of life and death, the powers of destruction and construction, the mystic principles of integration and disintegration, all these are in the hands of the great ones of God. The knowledge of life is the mystic power of the initiate, for only those who have walked the ways of many can ever know what the laurels of initiation mean. Only when his heart is filled with love for humanity and with the great suffering and great peace of those who know, can he so express the powers within himself that he is of use in so great a plan. The initiate has the mindless mind of spirit which thinks only the thoughts of life, to the source of which he each day draws nearer. He is filled with the understanding of nature's plan for her children, and only this knowledge holds in check a heart that would otherwise break with sorrow. He knows that strange, sweet melancholy, that mystic feeling few have ever realized, such as must have filled the soul of Jesus as he wept over Jerusalem. The true initiate is initiated by God and not by man, and he will give his life, his soul, his very being, to lift the suffering in the name of the Father. It is only those who have a heart great enough to enfold all creation, a conscious 22ness as great and broad as life itself, who are even on the road to initiation, those whose very being is a mirror of the divine, whose every thought is to save, whose every power is expanded to raise, whose every action is a blessing, who reach out with hands ever stronger to aid suffering humanity. Those and those alone know the true meaning of initiation. Those whose eyes have never seen suffering, those whose hearts have never been broken, those who are tied by earthly ambitions, can never receive that celestial influx of life which comes to those who have prepared their vehicles in the way of the law and the great love. The initiate is slowly reaching out into the great unknown, lighting each corner of chaos with his own glory, bathing all life in the warmth of his own soul, limited only by his own unfoldment. On through the ages he is dispelling ignorance and darkness by the ever-broadening sphere of his own light. It is those who have dedicated their lives and being to feed the flame of the Eternal One that its light may shine more brightly whom we call the initiates, and, oh, how few they are! How few have given up the kingdoms of the earth? How few are ready to give up earthly desires to walk the path that leads to divinity, holding out the little alms dish of the Buddha for the words of wisdom and love that are given to those who seek for help that they in turn may serve. To those who seek it in any other way than this, initiation is only a terrible demon. The student may gain growth, the wisdom or so-called power of the adept may come to him, but still if selfishness is his motive he is cursed to suffer and to go without the things of this world as well as the other, for he is cursed with knowledge, and knowledge brings with it a weight that few shoulders are strong enough to bear. It is only when that mystic thing comes, the strange, spiritual power of initiation, that to man is given the strength to carry knowledge in the way of light. There are only a few who are ready to take up the cross and follow in the footsteps of those who have consecrated their lives to their fellow men. There are only a few with strength enough to see the veil of the future lifted and remain sane. There are few who could see the veil of their own destiny raised and still have strength enough to walk the way. And even to those who can stand this great light there comes the still greater test of standing alone in the high places of the world without even the staff of comradeship, for the initiate is ever alone, but when truly ordained of the Spirit is never lonely. For with this knowledge that no tongue can speak, no coin of man can buy, there comes something else, a still whisper, the word of eternal life that passes eternally through the soul of the saved. While the initiate sees the bleeding hearts of his fellow man and the breaking and tearing of living things, he still sees the eternal justice of all things. To him there comes the realization that all is working for good. He sees the divine hand working through the apparent chaos of things, and that behind the human discord there is the divine reason. Can we face this great unknown as the great ones have faced it? Can we pass through with the glorious vision of nirvana forever before us? If we can, we are on the path upward that leads to the feet of the great ones who look down on man with never-changing eyes of love. Very few are there in the world today who are ready to make the great renunciation which the world knows as initiation. There comes a time in every soul when there is a parting of the ways, and there are few who will take the stony path, give up the kingdoms of earth, and ascend the rocky crags to the feet of the Liberator. Those who take that path are the true essence of the life we live. Eventually, all will take the path as the light dawns upon them. If we would take that silent way, we must renounce the selfishness of materiality and slowly and painfully meet bravely 23 the buffets of the world and go on in the endless paths that leads into the unknown. It is those who have done this, sacrificing all without a murmur, whom we know as the initiates, and we owe them respect and love, for they are in truth our elder brothers who have gone a little way before that they may come back and show us the path to tread. A time comes when each soul, after having passed the first degrees of initiation, receives the greatest test of all. It is when he reaches the veil that divides him from the world. Nirvana with all its blessings shines before him, while those wandering in the wilderness cry out for help from the darkness below. He stands at the parting of the ways. Which path will he choose? The path of initiation is forever the path of sacrifice. No glory, no power, just a selfless willingness to serve the highest. In the robes of the mendicant, the initiate returns to wander the earth and serve others. While they are apparently imperfect and torn and slandered by the world, yet the hosts of heaven look down and bless them. Those who give up all, even the paradise well-earned and the rest that is theirs, and come back to walk in the muck and mire, they are the initiates. It is at that moment the star of Bethlehem shines out to tell that another Son of God is born among men. There are many on earth who have made this great renunciation. They have given up peace to walk the streets in rags, to be laughed at and ridiculed, to teach the few who would listen. They have gained great knowledge and great intellect, but still they live and speak of simple things. We only see them occasionally, and we say that these great ones have been blessed, but we do not know the price that they have paid, how they have bathed their souls in tears, how they have been garbed only in their own blood and crucified by their own disciples. This is the price of initiation, and it is through these things great souls are born. Children, and when one really takes the path that leads to light, the voice of the Father speaks spiritually within his soul, saying, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased." It is only then that the candidate climbs the steps that lead to immortality. It is sad to think how few who seek the powers of the masters are willing to pay for them with love and thought. With a few paltry dollars and a few fine robes, they honestly believe they can receive that for which gods have died, which great souls have been crucified to attain, and martyrs met their death in the arena. It is a pitiful thing, man's concept of the road to God. It is sharper than a serpent's tooth to have a thankless child, and how many of them the gods have today? What is the path that leads to the initiates? It is the lifting of consciousness through this strange drama which we call life. Along the great road all beings are plodding slowly, old and young alike, all walking the same path, the road that leads to the feet of the masters. There are many shrines along the way, many religions, many creeds, many little chapels where the seeker stops to pray and the weary to rest. But ever onward all must go until they reach the temple on the top of the lofty crags. In daily life we have our tests. The thought comes to our mind that we hate someone, but what have we to hate? Then thoughts of fear haunt us and sorrow bows us down. Then through the ages comes the realization that all things lead to good. Slowly we gain the great compassion, the great balance, the heart that is free of pain and pleasure. We have the vision of the great truth and seek to enfold all living things within the cape of our love. When thoughts like these come to the student, he is learning. It is that feeling of glory that brings with it the touch of pain. Everything we do carries with it a great responsibility. Those who wish to we have grown to think that there is where the robe of the initiate must be will only one Son of God, but we are all his ing to wear it over a broken heart. 24 With many people their greatest desire is to escape responsibility or to gain the glory of a great reward, but so long as these thoughts fill the soul, initiation is impossible. Until the aspirant is living the ritual he can never learn its mystery, until he can see in his own spiritual being the dying Christ on the cross he can never truly learn of initiation. It is bought with the gold of spirit and service. When he has so lived as to be worthy of it, then comes the light. In the darkness of his own closet, far from his brother man, in the silence of his own soul the great mystery unfolds. Thousands of figures gather round him, and the Grand Master is there in his robe of blue and gold. The teachers of the ages gather round him. He is in the great hall of his own body, through which he must pass to enter the inner room. There alone he passes through things no mortal tongue can speak. There he sees the reason for his being, the things that he must do, the greater works he is privileged to accomplish. And having learned much, his new responsibility is likewise great. Having seen the work to be done, he can no longer rest, but must wander the world like a lost soul to labor in the endless cause. He lives for one brief moment with those things which are eternal, and having glimpsed those wondrous beings, service means everything. He must help all living things to find the light that he has found. Just a silent soul alone, unfolding its wondrous mystery to its own being, that is initiation. Having gone through these tests and removed the love of materiality, he is given the privilege of knowing and realizing the true reason for at least part of the plan. He goes on now, step by step, coming into the powers which were always his, not in heaven but in hell. For the place of the initiate is not in the worlds above, but in the worlds of darkness, for he has consecrated his soul to the redemption of man. We have among us today those who claim to have passed through great initiations, but do their lives show it? Are they willing to work unseen and unknown with the powers that never shine before the eyes of men? Do they work with the humility and simplicity which is the divine expression of the soul? All true initiates point out the way by their own beings, that others may follow the path to which they have dedicated their lives. Everyone wants to be an initiate, but if they were the sun, would soon go out forever from their lives. Like children, man is always wanting something and weeping for it like a child. The soul filled with uncertainty, selfishness, and materiality can never have the strength of purpose and the unity of balance to carry the burdens of initiation. It is a blessing then that many are not what they want to be. If it were not so, hearts would be broken that have not the strength to mend. If we could be initiated now, it would do us no good, for each true, upward step must be hewn out of the solid rock of experience, that each may take the path by removing from his life the personal things that stand between him and that which he seeks. We must take each cruel word and change it into a dove before we send it on its way. When we go hence to enter into our Father's house, the greatest reward that can come to us is the privilege of laboring there. Not our will, but the Master's should regulate the expression of our life. If those who seek initiation today could only one know what it really means, they would realize how false their concepts have been. What have we done that we have the right to join that little throng of God's chosen ones? If we would labor with them, we must take upon our shoulders their burdens and be one of those who are responsible for the lives of men. And when we have raised our consciousness, our lives, our actions, and our thoughts to this point, then we are initiates in spirit and in truth, for the light of God's plan for man shines forth and envelopes us in its glory, and its first gleam shining upon our soul show us the end to which all initiation leads, a lonely cross upon a hill. Broken dolls. As you watch life through the eyes of one who has walked the path, you see spreading out before you not only a graveyard of broken hopes and shattered ideals, but also a wondrous kindergarten where men, gods in the making, pass through the hours of their childhood until the eternal hand calls them to greater things. Here we see the little ones, often old in years but young ever in spirit, laughing and playing each in his own free way, few of the worries and responsibilities of real life in its true sense realized or understood, for man knows little of living, but with carefree spirit he goes on in this way and in that, playing through the years of his youth and his manhood and passing into the great beyond, still clasping a toy in his arms. Off to one side, away from the laughing, playing children, there sits a little one alone for whom the world has come to an end. The little chubby cheeks are streaked with tears, a little heart is broken, and from one little life the light of the sun has gone out forever. With its face clasped between its hands it sobs its little soul away, while upon the ground before it lies a broken doll with its funny little face seamed and cracked and its sawdust body broken and twisted by the ruthless cruelty of an older child. This is the endless story of the broken doll. It may seem at this age of the world that man does not play with toys like these, but still in his heart he is ever a child. To the very day when ends his work here he is just a little one, laughing with the children, playing with them, and then creeping away to weep alone over a broken toy. The world is not filled with sinners but with thoughtless people. It is filled with those who do not realize the agony greater far than mortal mind can ever understand, the soul anguish which gnaws to the very being of a child when its toy is broken. If man could only understand how the little things we love, the little castles we build in the air, the little shrines we make and in which we place gods and goddesses of clay, if the world could only realize the soul each of the other, it would not with the ruthless hand of hate and the heartless touch of selfishness tear down these little dream castles of the air. It would not leave us crying by the empty shrines made desolate by their thoughtlessness. It would not leave us heartbroken before the toy that it has shattered, the ideal it has forever slain. Our toys are very fragile things. Just one harsh word, a few unhappy seconds, and the dream of the child is shattered and its life is bent askew. All the children of men are dreamers, dreaming wondrous dreams and building in the heavens castles of rainbow colors. To many these dreams are just toys, just make-believes, and too often our quick word shatters them, and while to us they meant nothing, they seemed all to some little soul who must walk the lonely way in darkness because we have torn down the fairy world which made its life sweeter. So let us be careful of their playthings, for the heart of the world bleeds too often and little souls pine away beside the toy that is shattered, which in its broken little pieces symbolizes often the shattered soul of the dreamer. Let us realize more fully that man is ever a child, living ever in the world of make-believe, and that the things which he cherishes and the ones whom he loves become gods and goddesses in truth. His life to the very grave is filled with fairy stories, and forever to the soul of the mystic child the prince comes riding. Forever in our souls we build little toys, and when all others go away and leave us, we bring them out from their sacred closet, and sitting alone with our own souls plays with the dolls of the years gone by. Again, the little tin soldier comes out of his box, the fluffy little dog is there, and the old rag doll in whose simple, homely being our hearts are often hidden. Only these are no longer physical toys. They are the playthings of the mind and the soul. Instead of being of wood and painted, lead the little toy soldiers who fight so true are our friends and those we love. And when friendship is broken, when man betrays his trust one to another, the soul sits alone in its closet and cries heartbroken over a shattered toy. Let us realize that each of us is enshrined in the soul of another somewhere in the world, and that when we betray our trust, someone must cry over a broken doll, A soul not strong enough to stand the weight of a thing to us so trivial will know the pains and anguish of a broken heart over the toy which we have shattered. If we could only realize in our homes how love builds toys in the soul, we would not tear down these gods from their shrines. We would not break the hearts of those we love by our thoughtless words and heartless deeds which to us mean so little and still fill the world of another with sorrow and sadness. The soul of man must stay young. He must forever be a dreamer building from the subtle, unseen things toys to fill the loneliness of life. Let him build them, let him dress them as he will, let him play as he will, and deny him not his toys, for when you destroy them you leave behind a mark deep in the soul of things, a scar which the years cannot heal, which only the masters understand who have wept for ages over broken dolls. Man must worship something. Someone must to him seem divine, someone in whose ear he may whisper the thoughts, the emotions, and the ideals which surge through his soul. Something either of this world drawn by bonds unknown or a little cherished toy hidden in the heart, something he must worship in the name of God. Wherever this thing is not, the life is cold. So let us always help our brothers in the world to play more beautiful games in more beautiful ways with their toys. Let our words and actions make the rag doll more divine, and in the true spirit of compassion let us play with the child that its castles may be fairer. Never, in the name of God, tear the toy from the child's arms and leave it sitting on the curbstone which borders the road of life with broken heart and shattered ideals, weeping in an anguish that our hearts can never know for a broken doll. Ships passing in the night. There are few who realize the power that they themselves as individuals have in molding the destinies of peoples, worlds, and gods. No man lives by himself alone, neither do our thoughts or actions affect us alone. They go on in a world of many mysteries, and these little birds of clay which we mold fly on eternally ever closer and closer to the circling orbs of light. The world is a great sea, and the eternal, never-ceasing sway of living things can be likened to the soft swishing of the ocean waves. And in too many lives this world in which we live is a stormy sea where the waves of broken hopes dash themselves to pieces upon the rocky shores of discouragement. Too many times in life we hear the moaning and sighing as of mighty winds, and the night cries in the wilderness when the snowy crests of breaking waves beat against the encircling arms of the shore. Through this stormy sea of oblivion, this endless battle and turmoil of life, there silently pass thousands of little ships, the souls of living things seeking to cross this endless sea, hoping to find a peaceful harbor and there to rest in safety protected from the buffets of the storm. Too many times this world is filled with darkness, the thunderclouds fill our lives and all seems bleak and desolate. Too many times we sense the great oppression, the indescribable sense of loneliness, and the utter chill of the world. We do not see beneath this surging water the softer, sweeter, and more beautiful, but lonely barks upon an endless sea with the rudder lashed and sails set, driven by every wind that blows and manned only by a crew of ghastly specters. Our ship passes silently and hopelessly through the night of cosmic oblivion. Let us for a moment float like some mystic specter from another world over the darkness of the seas and watch the ships that pass silently in the night. Through the darkness they come, lonely, bleak, and desolate, derelicts on the ceaseless waves of night, and they pass looking neither to the right nor to the left. We shudder, a chill comes over us, we feel the oppression of that ghostly crew of broken hopes and shattered ideals. Many a living ship is manned only by the ghastly crews of death. Set faces that cannot smile peer out from broken portholes, and eyes that stare with glassy fixedness of despair gaze out from these silent ships that pass in the night. They do not know where they go. Long ago the compass of courage and ideal has been swept overboard, long before the captain has fallen a victim to the mutiny of his crew. The soft, sweet human touch, the cheery voices of the sailors as they draw on the ropes, and the song of the willing workmen, all these are silent. Many a human bark, battered and tossed by the sea of life, waits longingly for the waves to break forever over its broken craft. There are souls crying out to their Creator to end their suffering in blissful dissolution. These are the ships that pass in the night. These are the grim skeletons of dead hopes. These are the vessels that have for ages wandered in the darkness of the storm. One by one the noble aspirations have died. One by one the fiery desires have been chilled forever, and the hearts that once beat as other men's now dream only of lost hopes. The world is filled with these ships that must wander, it seems, until Judgment Day, when through the darkness of the night a light shine out. There is the cheery ringing of a bell, or the starlight gleam of a lighthouse, which brings peace to these broken wanderers, rest to their shattered lives. Far out in the darkness a tiny pillar stone rises upward in the night on a broken crag of rock where the endless beating of the waves alone is heard, and the white crests reach upward to envelop this frail thing of man. But as the lonely lighthouse stands, so great souls have gone out forever from the peace and security of the shore to be broken as battered ships in order that they may keep alight the lamp for the world. The lighthouse keeper at sea is serving ships that pass in the night as the world is served by the lighthouse keepers on the rocks of life. Their gleam shines out no longer from the revolving lenses of the tower above, for in this world the lighthouse is our own being, and its light shines out through the eyes, through the soft words, the generous ideals, and the great compassion which marks Pound-He lighthouse keepers on the broken seas of the world. Still the waves break and toss and battle with each other through the eternal night of human ignorance. Still the lonely vessel rocked and torn by the storm wanders over the sea of life, awaiting the day of liberation and the haven of peace. Copyright 2025 by Manly Hall Official. Thank you for listening. Please consider to subscribe, like, and share to help the channel growth. New videos on a daily basis.